We all get stuck in a rut sometimes, especially when it comes to playing drum fills. You feel like you might be just playing the same fills over and over and over again, and you feel a little bit lost for creativity and inspiration. Well, here's a cool little game you can play to randomly generate drum fills and play new phrases and rhythms that you may never have played before. So we're going to use random numbers to create a 16th note based rhythm that you can use as a drum fill. There's also a technical aspect behind this game to help you improve your flow and articulation around the drums when using broken 16th notes. And if you're not familiar with broken 16th notes, I'll link a video up somewhere here. There's a whole video on how to play broken 16ths properly around the drums. So before we play the random drum fill generator game, if you can think of a better name for it, chuck it in the comments, please. There's only really one rule that we need to look at, and this relates back to the broken 16th. So let's just have an overview of this before we start playing. If we take a bar of 16th notes, obviously we have 16 notes that we can use. So let's number those 1 to 16. If we play this bar of 16th notes as single strokes, then our right hand is always going to play the odd numbers, which is the 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. While the even numbers will obviously be played by the left hand, the E's and the A's. So make sure as you start to generate a random sequence of these notes, that when you play it, your right hand always stays on the odd numbers and your left hand always stays on the even numbers. Okay, let's get into it. First, draw a set of 16 boxes that you can fill in as you generate each random note. To generate the random notes, you can use Siri or Alexa, whichever robot you like to talk to. But I'm just going to go to Google and type in random number generator. Now you can use Google's own random number generator, and we can set that between 1 and 16. Hit generate, and whichever number appears, fill in that box. So our first number is 2. Let's cross that off and pick another. This time 10, fill that in. Another number, 7. And we've got 10 again, so we'll ignore that obviously and pick another one. 4, 3, 14, 6, 12, that's 6 again, that's 4 again, 5, with 10 again, missed that, 15. Now I'm going to stop there. You can pick as many or as few numbers as you want. Obviously you don't want to fill up the whole bar, as it kind of defeats the point. But it can actually be more challenging to play less notes. But just fill it up until you've got 1 or 2 notes within each quarter note, till you've got something that looks like a cool rhythm to play. So now we've got our randomly generated rhythm. Let's turn those ticked boxes into proper notation now and add the sticking pattern underneath. Remember, your lead hand should always play the odd numbers and the other hand plays the even numbers. So let's play this phrase just on a practice pad first to get it flowing and get it moving, get it into our hands, and then we can take it over to the kit. Once you've got that down, you can take it over to the kit and throw in some grooves with it to make it feel like a drum fill. Now try and develop this fill a little further by moving it around the kit, moving some of the notes onto the toms or the cymbals, whatever you like. We're turning this back into a creative exercise now, and I find with my students this is what they struggle with the most, because you can overthink this. Try and keep things simple. The more complicated you try and make this, and if you try and move every note around a different part of the kit, it's going to sound really bad. I can almost guarantee that. With this particular phrase, I would play something like this. Notice as I started to move that fill around the drums more, I was still sticking to simple shapes and finding the easiest way for the pattern to flow around the drums. I wasn't trying to do anything too complicated where I'm going to get tied up in knots. It's really tempting to use the entire drum kit when it's in front of you, but you should always just aim to be as musical as you possibly can. And the aim really is to be able to sing everything that you play as you play it. This will make sure that you play every note for a reason and you have some intention behind every move that you make around the drums. Another great thing about this game is that it's not just limited to making drum fills. I actually came up with this idea years ago with a student of mine who has learned to play double kick pedal. Now I don't play double kick at all, so I couldn't really give him any pointers on how to start developing his speed, but I kind of came up with this game to help him use his right and left foot in the same way that we use our hands in this game. And these random phrases tended to sound more kind of metal, like chuggy rhythms that he could play in that kind of style on the double kick pedal. So try taking this randomly generated phrase and trying it in a different context. Use it as a kick pattern. Or use it as a right hand pattern on the hats or the ride. Or just use it as a base to start some improvisation. And obviously it's pretty endless, because once you're done with all that, you can just go and generate another random phrase and start over again. Obviously with them being randomly generated, you might come up with something that you don't like the sound of. If that's the case, just do another one. Sometimes it'll sound great, sometimes it won't sound so great, but either way, there's going to be a challenge in there for you. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.